Heath Slater. Could Heath Slater soon be heading to Impact Wrestling? A lot of people talking about Heath Slater after last night's appearance on Monday Night Raw. So could Heath Slater soon be heading to Impact Wrestling? Now, the former 3MB WWE superstar has been teasing on social media, like many ex-WWE superstars, that something big is going to happen on July 18th of this year. Now, of course, that is likely to be his WWE non-compete clause expiring. However, of course, TNA or Impact Wrestling Slammiversary will be taking place on July 18th. Impact Wrestling's arguably their second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Rhino, his former WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champion partner, has also teased that Heath Slater soon could be appearing on Impact. A few weeks ago on Impact Wrestling, Rhino was backstage talking about tag teams, and he said, whoa, I've already got a tag team partner and he's got kids. So that was obviously a reference, a tease that Heath Slater could soon be appearing on Impact Wrestling or could soon be signing with Impact Wrestling. Heath Slater has also been making teasers on social media that he could be heading to the promotion. So many people assumed prior to last night that Heath Slater going to Impact Wrestling was a lock, and we could soon expect to see Heath Slater in the promotion. However, reports then came out yesterday that Heath Slater would be appearing on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. This was, of course, confirmed when in the opening segment between Dolph Ziggler and WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler brought out Heath Slater to confront his former 3MB stablemate. Now, I must say, Heath Slater last night, without a shadow of a doubt, and this might be slightly controversial, but for me, last night, Heath Slater cut the promo of the year last night on Monday Night Raw. It was certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, the promo of his career, but in my opinion, I think it was the promo of the year in any promotion. It was that good. It's my kind of promo, the kind of promos I enjoy watching. He talked about Drew McIntyre, saying that Drew McIntyre said he would look out for Heath Slater, and then next thing you know, Heath Slater gets fired from WWE back in April, just after WrestleMania. Heath Slater talks about looking out for his kids, not the 2,000 kids that the world thinks he has and mocks him for having. I've got kids, etc. But the 2 kids he actually has back at home. The 2 kids that saw Heath Slater cry at WrestleMania when Drew McIntyre won the WWE Championship. There was real emotion in the voice of Heath Slater here. He was obviously holding back tears. There was passion. There was emotion. It was real. That's the best thing about this promo last night. It was real. And it was compelling. And I was hanging off every single word that Heath Slater said. Now, in addition to the fantastic promo that Heath Slater did last night, Heath Slater looks to be in the absolute best shape of his career right now too. Not only does he cut the promo of his life, but he's also in the shape of his life. Ever since his release in April of 2020, Heath Slater has gotten himself into the best shape of his life and certainly his career. Last night's promo, there was no comedy from Heath Slater, which we're obviously used to in WWE. That's what he's always been booked as. After splitting from the Nexus, he was a comedy character. There was no I'm a one-man band or 3MB or air guitar or anything like that. There was nothing like that of that sort last night. Heath Slater, to me, last night, with his promo and with his performance, Heath Slater showed that he can be a star. I absolutely think Heath Slater can be a star, and any doubts that you thought that Heath Slater could be a star should be completely disappeared now, because Heath Slater proved it last night. So, obviously, coming off the back of that promo by Heath Slater last night and the appearance by Heath Slater on Monday Night Raw, people were then questioning, could Heath Slater be back in WWE after being released earlier this year? And people are saying, well, why would he do that? Why would he do that? Why would he go back to the company that fired him? Well, like he said in his promo, it's for his kids. Obviously, I'm sure he'll get a good payday for his appearance last night. And Heath Slater last night showed that he could be a star. And last night was to show what he is capable of. But after cutting the promo of his life, after cutting the promo of the year, after having a tremendous segment with his friend Drew McIntyre on Monday Night Raw in typical WWE fashion, after Heath Slater cuts the promo of the year, he has this segment that is absolutely tremendous, filled with emotion, passion and reality. What happens then? Of course, he then gets beaten in 10 seconds with the Claymore by the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. Now, I'm not saying that Heath Slater should have beaten the WWE Champion last night, Drew McIntyre. I'm not saying that they should have had a 30-minute classic. I'm not saying it should have been a 50-50 match. But seriously, Heath Slater cuts the promo of his life and then loses in 10 seconds. And it just proves the point when it comes to Heath Slater and the other people that got released by WWE in April of this year. You can only get over so much when you're not under contract with Vince McMahon. And that's what it is. He's still not under contract with WWE. He's still unemployed. The reason he can come back, and they brought him back last night, is because whilst he's waiting out his non-compete clause, the 90-day non-compete clause, they can bring him back whenever they want, or if they want to bring him back, the talent can easily do that. But I think last night was the absolute best thing that could have happened to Heath Slater, in my opinion. If Heath Slater had any doubts about if he was better off without WWE, or if he should be in WWE, or, could he, if WWE asked him back, should he go back? He got his answer last night. Heath Slater is absolutely better off without WWE. And last night, Heath Slater showed what he's capable of. He came off like a complete star. He cut a great promo, he looks in phenomenal shape, and he's still teasing this July 18, 2020 date. And it would appear that last night was merely a curtain call for a wrestler that had been with the WWE for over 10 years. Personally, since he's still teasing this July 18 date, and he still, as far as we're aware of anyway, is not under contract with WWE, I still think that Heath Slater will go to Impact. I still think he'll appear at Slammiversary. People are saying after last night, could he go to AEW? Again, I've said this with a couple of these Impact Wrestling videos that we're making on the channel here. I don't think AEW is the right fit for someone like Heath Slater right now, because that roster is so big. And I mentioned this about Zack Ryder the other day, that if Heath Slater goes to AEW, I'm sure he'll get a good deal. But if he goes there, the best he could possibly do would be the TNT Championship, and that wouldn't happen anytime soon. In reality, he'd just be appearing on AEW Dark, which is no real improvement to when he was appearing on Main Event or anything like that. Whereas if Heath Slater signs with Impact Wrestling, if Heath Slater goes to Impact Wrestling, Heath Slater can be a world champion in Impact Wrestling. I truly believe that. That Heath Slater that appeared on Monday Night Raw last night, the one that cut a promo and the one that looked in great shape, that Heath Slater, that version of Heath Slater can be a world champion in Impact Wrestling. And I think he'd be totally believable doing it. Impact could even at this point, even though Heath Slater appeared on Monday Night Raw last night, whilst a contract may not be yet signed between Heath Slater and Impact Wrestling, Impact could even have a verbal deal with Heath Slater right now. And if they do, if Impact Wrestling do have a deal in place that's just not signed yet because they legally can't, they're looking at Heath Slater after last night's performance like, wow, what a talent we've just signed. I mean, this is fantastic. Now, there's been a lot of talk about who this mystery fourth competitor could be at Slammiversary in the Fatal 4-Way Impact World Championship match. People have speculated it could be a lot of ex-WWE stars, and I think that's what Impact are going for. Of course, Impact have been teasing ex-WWE stars ever since the promotion for Slammiversary started in about May time, didn't it? They had the promo of the guy on the news. They showed the likes of EC3, Eric Young. They even showed people like Rockstar Spud, who of course then eventually re-signed with WWE and are prominently on NXT now. But a lot of people have speculated that EC3, Eric Young, Mike Bennett, whoever, could be the fourth competitor in that Fatal 4-Way Impact World Championship match at Slammiversary. But after that performance last night, maybe Impact Wrestling looks at a guy like Heath Slater, who a lot of people are talking about right now, especially coming out of that performance last night. People prior to this would have probably said, should Heath Slater be in that fourth spot? Probably not. But coming off of that performance last night, Impact might have to have a conversation now and say, look, let's go with the guy that has all the momentum right now and give Heath Slater that shot. And I had this conversation with someone in the comments section a couple of days ago that I think it's different now. Obviously, back in the day when it comes to TNA and comes to Impact Wrestling, they used to get criticised a lot for signing guys that just got released by WWE, and it kind of felt like they were getting WWE's cast-offs. Just at a certain point, it was anyone that got released by WWE goes to TNA. And this is at a time where TNA was on a big platform. They were on Spike TV, and they were trying to position themselves as a credible alternative to WWE. And look, their goal, I guess, was eventually to get to the level of WWE. It never happened, but I'm assuming that was their goal. And when they kept signing all of these ex-WWE superstars, it kind of felt like TNA was just WWE light, and they never established any stars of themselves. But I don't think that situation or that narrative applies today with Impact Wrestling potentially signing all of these ex-WWE superstars. I think they're signing guys that are hungry. They're signing guys that have got a point to prove. They're not signing a Booker T or a Kevin Nash, people that are just coming for the paycheck and their career's winding down, or they need a few years off from WWE, so they go somewhere where the schedule's lighter, and then once they recharge their batteries, they'll go back to WWE. I don't think that's the case here. I think the people that it's rumored that Impact Wrestling are going to sign, an EC3 and Eric Young, in this case Heath Slater, Gallows and Anderson. These are all guys that have a point to prove. Look, they got released by WWE because they were deemed not essential during the pandemic. These were non-essential superstars. They want to prove that they're more than essential. They can actually be a benefit to the company that they're signed to, and they can be stars. Because right now, Heath Slater, he's typical of these ex-WWE stars that have been released. He has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove. He wants to prove that he's not just a comedy talent that does jobs on Raw or does jobs on Main Event. Even though WWE made him do another job last night on Monday Night Raw, he wants to show that he can be a world champion. And I think in Impact Wrestling, that would be the perfect place for him to do just that. So I don't think anything's changed after the performance last night by Heath Slater. If anything, he just got himself more over and more in demand. Like I said, I still expect him to go to Impact Wrestling. There still might even be a deal in place. He looks in absolutely phenomenal shape. As I mentioned, I think he can be a world champion in Impact Wrestling. I really do. I think that's possible. And look, we've mentioned all of these ex-WWE superstars coming into Impact Wrestling. We've mentioned an EC3. We've mentioned Heath Slater here. We've mentioned Eric Young. We've mentioned Gallows and Anderson. Possibly Bully Ray coming back in for the Aces and Eights too. And look, it's a really fun time. It's a really fun time to be a fan of Impact Wrestling right now. And it's a really curious time for the company. For so long, that company has had negative press and negative media when it comes to the backstage politics, or it comes to the mismanagement of executives in the company or the ownership. And that stigma has really stuck with Impact Wrestling for a long time. If you are a diehard Impact Wrestling fan, you know that the product of Impact Wrestling has been really good for at least the last 3 years, I would say. At least the last 3 years. Ever since Don Callis and Scott D'Amore became executive vice presidents of the company, and they started to get on Access TV, it's just gone from level to level to level. And it's a really fun watch tonight. At the time of recording tonight, it's on again tonight, Impact Wrestling on Access TV. I'll be watching, of course. And it's a really exciting time. And Impact Wrestling are highlighting that Slammiversary could be not a rebirth, but it's definitely the start of a new chapter in the company. And I really do think that if you do have the likes of EC3, Heath Slater, Gallows and Anderson, and others signing with Impact Wrestling, when it comes to Slammiversary, coming out of Slammiversary, they're going to have a really, really strong roster, along with the roster they've got anyway. You know, they've got arguably, it's up there with WWE as the best women's division in the world. I would probably say WWE's got a slightly better female division than Impact Wrestling's knockout division. But if you're going to compare Impact Wrestling's knockout division to AEW's female division, then Impact Wrestling just blows them out of the water when it comes to that. So there's a lot of positives right now about Impact Wrestling, and it's a really exciting time. And finally, people are talking about the company again in a positive light. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't think Impact Wrestling are going to get, AEW numbers. I don't think they're going to get NXT numbers. I certainly don't think they're going to get Raw or SmackDown numbers. They don't even release the ratings for Access TV. But I think the most important thing when it comes to Impact Wrestling right now, and this is why it's really important that these ex-WWE stars are teasing their debuts for Impact Wrestling on social media. The most important thing right now for Impact Wrestling is to get people talking about the promotion. And WWE may have indirectly helped fuel this last night with Heath Slater appearing on Monday Night Raw. A lot of people now are speculating, okay, if Heath Slater is no longer with the company, and how great did Heath Slater look last night, where's Heath Slater going next? And then if the natural jump is going to Impact Wrestling, and that debut is only going to happen, in a couple of weeks' time? A lot of people, once again, eyeballs go to Impact Wrestling. So last night, I think it's just a win-win for Impact Wrestling if Heath Slater signs there. I still think he will. He's got the connection with Rhino. Rhino's currently with Impact Wrestling at the moment. The question is now, does Heath Slater come in and be a tag team with Rhino? I think he can do more than that. I think that would be limiting to him. Maybe that's a way to come into the company, but I think he should be aiming for the top. Like I said, he's got a massive chip on his shoulder. He's got a point to prove, and last night he showed that he's absolutely capable of being world champion material in a company like Impact Wrestling. So I think it's a really exciting time for Heath Slater and Impact Wrestling at the moment. But as always, this is just one man's opinion. What is your opinion on Heath Slater appearing on Monday Night Raw last night? Do you think that he will sign with Impact Wrestling? Do you think he could debut at Slammiversary? How would you book Heath Slater? Could he be a world champion in the company? Could he be the fourth man in the Fatal 4-Way Impact World Championship match at Slammiversary? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now. Or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be another subscribe button and another video for you to watch at the end of this video. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms right now. They're on the screen right now at 365Wrestle on Twitter and at Wrestle News 365 on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. And I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.